So, Mr. Clerk, Mr. Administrator, do we have a quorum?
We do have a quorum.
Excellent. Mr. Sears, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, Ms. Molly, if you'll step around here. And I'm gonna ask your granddaughter to come up here.
Oh gosh.
Come ahead.
Come on,
Oh no.
on.
Why are you
Yes,
doing
come
this
on.
to me?
That's what all good campaign managers do.
So you hold this for her. You put your left hand here and your right hand here and turn and face the camera.
Yeah, and Polly, go over that way.
There
a
we
bit.
go.
No, she needs to go over more that way, because she's
But-
not in the picture.
Oh,
There you go.
Is that better?
We have a stage
Okay.
manager.
All right, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully and truly perform the duties of council member of this town, that I will support and defend the United States Constitution, Constitution of the State of Georgia, and the Charter of the Town of Sharpsburg, to the best of my skill and ability, and asked of me shall see to the best interest and welfare of the town without fear, favor, or affection. I do further swear or affirm that I'm not the holder of any unaccounted for public money due this state or any political subdivision or authority thereof, that I am not the holder of any office or trust under the government of the United States or any other state or any foreign state, which by the laws of the state of Georgia I am prohibited from holding, and that I am otherwise qualified to be a public officer according to the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia, so help me God.
I do,
All right.
and will.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And this will sign both of those.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shelby. Appreciate your help.
Thank you, Mr. Sears.
Mayor and council, I present to you Ms. Polly Darlington, who's no stranger to the council, as the newest sworn-in member of the council of the town of Sharpsburg.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Paula.
Thank you.
All right, so first item that we have on the agenda is a review and approval of our minutes from October 2nd and the work session minutes from October 16th. If you had a chance to read over it.
I'm not allowed to vote on this, correct? Because I wasn't a council member at the time.
Probably not. Brad, is that right?
She can vote to approve.
Okay. You can vote to approve if you
Okay.
like.
Well, I've already read it, so fine.
All right, if they have been read, and no one has any corrections, if I can get a motion to approve the minutes from October 2nd.
Motion. Second.
Stan has the first, Tom has the second. All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. The minutes from the October 16th work session.
Make a motion, we accept them as written.
Tom has the first.
I'll second.
Alex has the second. All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Next item on the agenda, since we have no public hearing, is a review of our October 2023 budget. Mr. Jones?
I would say that as far as our budget is concerned, we're actually doing pretty well. I guess it's sort of routine to say that. Revenues are exceeding our expenditures. But I will point out a couple of things, that some of our line items for expenditures are still growing and are above budget. It's just sort of the nature of how this year is balanced. I'll be glad to go over individually if you would like, but I think end of the day, if you look at the sum results on both sides, we are underspending our expenditures and we are receiving more than our revenues. Part of the beauty of this year, by the way, or of this particular month, is that we exceeded revenues for our community center and for our instructor fees. You can see that we went up by 4,000 and 2,000 respectively on each line item. So I think that's certainly attributable to the staff and our team that we have in making this work out. So I appreciate that. With regard to our expenses, we'll see that legal fees are certainly higher than we anticipated. But again, we had a lot of different legal issues we had to address this year. We are coming to the end of the year, so pretty much I don't see much of a change there. Outside of that, routine expenses that have gone up will be IT, payroll, and a box. Those are issues that are going to be addressed in our upcoming budget. Printing services, of course, we had an issue earlier this year with the copy machine going down, and we had to go into basically a rental agreement that was unforeseen. Toward the bottom of our expenses, you're going to see that we had 259% on gas. It's a small number, but bear in mind, we had gas we had to purchase this year, and the invoice from last year's purchase didn't make it to us until this year. So it's really reflecting 2 years worth of payments there.
Yeah.
So, if you see that 259% and that jumps out at you, understand that's paid for 2 years, not one.
So, you know, George, you might want to go back and look at last year's, because I remember thinking the same thing happened.
I looked and it didn't.
It did, okay.
It did not. No, I looked, because I thought
Okay.
that too.
Okay.
Back in, yeah,
Ah, okay. Well,
Yeah.
at least we know it's a 2-year thing.
right, exactly. In your packet, you'll see, I actually received a letter today, and it's a great reminder. We need to start allocating the remaining of our ARPA funds, our American Rescue Plan Act funds. We need to allocate those and get them expended. If we get to about this time next year and we have not allocated them, then we're going to be obligated to give it back. So, that will certainly be a conversation piece as we go through this year on how do we expend it, how do we allocate it, because that is coming, and we are going to have to address that.
Can you give us a one-sentence description of what we can spend it on?
I'm not sure that I can, because every time I look at it, it tells me that the rules have changed.
Yeah.
But it basically, the basic sense of it, with a lot of wiggle room, is that it was put out there to compensate during 2020 and the COVID-19 pandemic, where towns, municipalities, and governments across the state were losing revenue. And it was supposed to shore up revenue. Now, that's sort of the broad picture. There's a lot of nuance in what I just said. But it was basically to help offset expenses and costs that may have been lost due to COVID-19. Does that sound about fair?
No, yeah, that's about right.
Assessment?
It's pretty broad in the things that we
Right.
can apply for. Internally, we've talked about putting it towards sewer and towards some of the infrastructure costs, put a little bit towards the library, and then I think those are the two main things.
Copy machine, we paid
Copy
copy
machine
machine off the board as well. But our spending from those funds has been
No, yes, it is.
percentage wise, it's been pretty minimal.
Yeah.
And it's going one way or the other. We're gonna either have to spend it or we're gonna have to give it back.
1 or 2 meetings ago, is this Becky Taylor, you referred us to some contact, and you said, since it's such a nondescript, way of spending the funds that we could reach out to, was that this person, Becky, or?
She's sort
It was
of,
a contact, yeah, I believe it was you that referred us to, you said if we had any questions, email her. I didn't have any questions at the time, but.
I'll be honest with you, Alex, I don't recall that, but I will tell you that Becky Taylor is my complete go-to.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's the GMA federal funding
Yeah.
contact, and she's just up on top of it.
Exactly.
Quick question on that while we're on it. That money is sitting in an account, correct?
It's actually in our general fund.
Right,
But-
so say we spend it on a non-qualified expense,
Mhm.
what are the repercussions?
I'll let that be Becky or.
How would we find out it wasn't qualified? What's the process?
So I will tell you what I've
Once we
done.
spend the money.
I'll tell you what I've done. When it comes down to expenditures that we have used from that fund, I will absolutely consult with Brad, who has a gentleman on his team that he also consults with, to give me from a legal perspective that I'm able to do it. Let's take, for instance, that copy machine purchase we did. Before I ever brought it to you guys, I had already spoken to Brad and said to him, here's what I'd like to do. Do we have legal grounds for it? His answer is yes. On the other hand, this Becky Taylor, the one that we're talking about, I also talked with her. And she has another lady named Claire Chan, as I recall, who's a third person over at GMA. And I run it through every one of them before I even consider spending that money.
Okay.
There is a spreadsheet that we're gonna have to report back to the federal government with at the end of next year, I guess.
So, okay, to clarify that a little bit, every year we have to report to the federal government on how have we either expended the money or how have we allocated it. So by the time that we get about this time next year, you have to at least allocate it.
Right.
And then, I believe you have up until 27 to spend it, but you have to say that you have to at least allocate that you're going to spend it. And every year, whether you've spent it or not, let's say that we empty out ARPA, we empty it out this coming year. Even if we have nothing sitting in that account every year up until, I believe, 27, we still have to report to the federal government that we spent it.
Okay.
So we're obligated up for another 3-4 years on making reports. It's just a matter of how we do the report.
Right.
But if we get to this point next year, and we haven't allocated it, and we're not choosing to allocate it, and we haven't
We gotta
spent
write a check.
it, then we write them a check.
Okay, so our strategy is basically just consult with Brad, consult with these people from GMA. If they all feel like it's in the realm of spending, then we do it.
Then we jump on it, yep.
Okay, that seems safe enough.
So, I actually have a page that I put on, right behind that email. I think you'll kind of appreciate it. I'm calling it general fund bank balances. Do you see that one?
Mm-hmm.
What I did is I just looked at what are the ending bank balances of the town. So it would be January 31, February 28, et cetera, starting from 2020 up until current. Of course, we don't have a bank balance for 23 November yet. And you will see what we've done is we started with 222,000 in January of 20. As of now, we have 650,000 in there. That's our general fund. And if you drop your eyes down just a little bit, you'll see that I have ARPA, LMIG, I call it total allocated, that's 136. If we had to write a check and return those monies now, taking it out of the account, we would still have about 13 in there. See that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we have so far.
And I'll go ahead and put out and commend staff, not just current staff, but previous staff as well, for the excellent work. I mean, you don't go from 200 grand to over 600 grand just by luck of the draw. Floyd has done a hell of a job, Dina has done a hell of a job, and their work is right there. So congratulations, guys.
And never mind, those numbers are revenues and expenditures. It's not just revenue only, that is incorporating everything we've ever written a check for and every check we've received, all together this year. And then the page right behind it is similar, that's our SPOS and how it's grown as well. So again, in January of 2020, we get 63,000. As of current, as I'm talking to you, we now have 245,000. And bear in mind, that 245 also purchased that parking lot that we paid for earlier this year.
Say that again.
Okay, so are you looking at the page, SPOS 2019?
Yeah.
Okay. 2020, we had 63,000. Now we have 245,000. But that 245,000 is minus your back parking lot. You had it back, we paid around 83 grand earlier this year for that parking lot. And so that incorporates all the payments from SPOS and all the revenue from SPOS.
All right, do we have any questions on the October budget? Floyd, do you wanna go ahead and talk about are we gonna talk about the 2024 budget, or are you gonna save that for?
Actually, I believe I put at everybody's desk, guys, I've been crunching numbers all day. I put at everybody's desk a proposal for the 2024 budget. And I'll be glad to go over it if you like by line item, but I will tell you some of the highlights that are in here. And again, it's up for discussion. I need to put an advertisement in the paper to go ahead and start advertising for our first hearing in December. Franchise taxes, I anticipate so first of all, revenue. I think our revenue is about maybe a little bit variable here and there. I think I've added numbers in where I think it's warranted. But the two largest ones will be our franchise taxes for electricity. You'll see that we had, earlier this year, we received $34,000. That number looks high, it's pretty outdated. Generally, we have 23,000, now we have 34 that came in this past year. So I raised that number up to 30 grand. As far as lost is concerned, average is 101, but we've been trending higher than 101. We're about to exceed 115,000 for lost. And I think that it's a fair game to say 125 for lost is what we'll get this year. Of course, all of this is sort of educated guess. I don't have a crystal ball into the future, but I'm looking at what I see as trends and what we received, not only over a 5-year period, but over last year as well. With regard to expenses, I went back and looked. As far as I can tell, town has not provided a cost of living probably the past 4 or 5 years at least. that I can tell.
So I will say that we did not identify the raises as cost of living over the last 3 or 4, but I wanna say every year that has
There's
gotten
been
raised.
some-
There has been some kind of raise. We have not identified it as a COLA. And we
Right.
can certainly do that moving forward,
Right,
but we've always just done merit raises.
done merit raises. So this will incorporate the 12,000. You're not really gonna see it in here because last year's budget included 12,000 for personnel, but this will be the first year that you're gonna see it actualized as a write the check every year for 12,000. Every month for 1,000, every year for 12. It does include the cost of living. I can go over some of this more in detail as needed. Currently, I'm the only full-time employee, and we have all the rest is part-time staff. That always makes it a challenge for employee benefits. Current, budget has no employee benefits at all. Legal, we had a lot more legal this year than last year. I anticipate we're not gonna have as much coming up, but especially with the enactment of DDA and those extras, I expect that we're gonna have probably more legal overall than we had over the past 5 years, so I accounted for that. Contracted services, and Tom, I think you'll find this of interest. I've included Hoopla, which is the library software. I understand that we have a down payment, and then there will be adjustments based off that down payment, and then there'll be a monthly cost eventually.
Yeah.
But I went ahead and incorporated all those numbers in. Kind of probably elevates expense a little bit, but I think it's a better way to at least know what you have. Garbage is going up to $22.25 per can for 147 residents. That's going to be a huge increase on our budget. It is what it is. Cleaning services, we have a cleaning company now, so it more or less doubled the amount that we have for cleaning. Now, I don't give it really fast to you guys, but I'll be glad to sit down with you individually. Lawn care has been elevated by 6,000. We just did pine straw for nearly 3, and if we're going to go with pine straw twice a year, that makes it 6. So lawn care has gone up.
So last year, did we have that in lawn care, or did we have that in, exterior improvements?
It was in lawn care. It's been in lawn care every year prior to.
Okay. I just didn't realize we stuck it in there. I thought it was in the outside.
Yes.
Line item.
Repairs and maintenance costs, that one is 6,700 extra. I have it in our general fund, but we may be able to utilize SPOS off of that. This will be for the interior and exterior of the children's library. So again, it may be cushion or it may be actual, depending on how we go with, is it SPOS or not. Travel costs, we just swore in Polly, we're going to have Cynthia, they're gonna have to take, training, mandatory training. That's gonna be
Are you sure they're gonna have to take the new officials training?
almost 100% positive.
Okay.
We already checked,
Oh, you
and
checked,
if
okay.
you've been out of office for 4 years, you have to.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 4-year increment there, so I don't know that I would say I will swear on that Bible, but I'm pretty
Why
sure I
don't you see if
could.
you can teach it?
Okay.
No.
So Elizabeth won't have to go then, Liz.
I don't think so. I don't think she will. Dues and fees, $8,000. I put that into our expense. That is based off of the request from EDA to have 8,000 this year and next year. So I put it in there as well. Supplies went from $1,000 to nothing. Again, we gave them $5,000. We wrote the check a couple weeks ago. And from my conversations, there's not gonna be another need for supplies for holidays. So it's down to nothing. I raised electricity because electricity is rising, as we've all heard in the news. Furnitures and computers also raised because our computers are starting to age, and I've got furniture literally in my office that's breaking down, and we're gonna have to do something with that. By the time we add in all those expenses, we went from having a contingency fund of nearly 31 last year to less than 1,000 this year. It's like,
I got a question, I know we vote on this at future sometime, but is any of this up for discussion basically between the council members? Is this already been accepted with the previous council?
right, so none of this has been accepted. This is my,
I
this
don't
is
mean to
my,
vote for the public, I mean, not the public, I mean,
It is still open for council discussion.
anything else.
Actually, anything on this paper is.
anything is up for
Yeah,
it.
just need to know that.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you.
is, all this is just a start for the budget. We'll present it December, and do a first reading, do a second reading in January to approve it, and then it will become adopted.
Okay, I got another question.
Mhm.
You have a finance committee, or how does this work?
How does what work?
How do you set the budget? Who
Oh.
decides all this?
Floyd and.
I'm the
Floyd
first
and I
one,
sit down.
I'm the first one. I'm the one who's
You the
looking,
chief?
Mhm.
I'm looking at what have we spent for the past 5 years. I'm also looking at what is our true, revenue and expenditure for this year that we're currently in. And there are things that I do know that are coming, and there are things that I presume are coming, and I work the numbers best as I see them.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Thanks.
So one thing that Floyd has in here, or rather he doesn't have in here, is an additional person for the town hall. I have told Floyd that I think he needs to add an additional person to the budget, simply because we keep getting busier over here between the growth of the community center, between the growth that's gonna happen in the library, between the growth that's gonna happen with the instructors. Day-to-day business is gonna get busier. Right now, you're at 313 for this budget. You really need to have at least one more position added for 2024. Just because, I mean, you got a deputy clerk, you got a community center coordinator, and you got Floyd. And you got Dina up at the library, but here in town hall, those are the three that you got. And Angie's gonna be busy enough, so she's already off the table. So,
May I make an announcement?
if you'd like to.
I put in my resignation, about 2 months ago at this point, leaving it open-ended. I had a significant birthday year this year, and I just wanna retire. It's been long enough for me. I'm not saying here, but for me personally, it's been long enough.
And so that opens the door about replacement.
Mhm.
When do we replace, but also how do we replace? And, yeah, and I've had, and again, some of this stuff is probably better one-on-one with you guys. At the end of the day, I've had conversations, and there are some concerns I've got about how we do a replacement. So, yeah.
Because one of the things that we have to do as leaders is we have to succession plan. And if we have an out date going for Julie, then we need to go ahead and, if we can't slide someone in, we need to hope that we can tap on Julie when we need her. Because, I mean, she handles a lot here, and she has learned a lot of stuff over the last 3.5, 4 years. Julie, has it been?
It'll be 4 years this month.
And in all fairness, Julie has been here longer than anybody on staff, and there are still things that I'm learning from her. So, yeah, it's,
She was here as a volunteer to start with, wasn't she? Yeah.
Yes.
Even though it was your way in, didn't you?
What?
You really weaseled your way in.
Not really, not really.
We sweet talked her into it.
Yeah.
She was just coming here for quilting and stayed for the
It won't be easy to replace.
yeah, I'll be glad to go over some of this on a one-on-one with you guys, but I think really the biggest thing that you guys are gonna have to start, considering how we're gonna approach is gonna be on personnel. Do we maintain with part-time staffing? And I'll go, then again, it's not the time or the place, I don't think, right here, but on a one-on-one, I'll talk to you about some of the things that I have heard, that are driving some of the discussion pieces, okay?
So the person you're talking about then, is that the replacer or an additional?
Well, you could really go either way. You could replace her with a part-time and then add another part-time to it. You could replace her with a full-time, which honestly, I would try to replace her with a full-time and then get another part-time. Either to float. I don't really know what the other part-time person would do, but
There may be a couple of ways to skin the cat.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's gonna be probably one-on-one.
And I'll stay until a replacement.
So that means Julie will be here till 2028.
We can drag it out. We'll hang on to her.
Lord have mercy, no.
Well, you're on record saying you'll stay as long as needed.
Yeah, you
There
said
you go.
You said it.
Okay.
You sneaked in there, you gotta sneak out.
This Hotel California. Yeah.
So, yeah, as far as the budget, this is just the first pass at it, and it'll continue to be refined, November and December, probably even some in January.
Well, we have to adopt a budget in the first meeting in January, right?
Yep.
So these numbers will tweak as I get more checks and more expenses that come in, and I completely welcome you guys. Come on in, let's sit down, and let's go over some of this and see how we can fine tune it. You may see you will see another version of this at your first reading in December, on December 4th. And those numbers, by the time that we get to December 4th, may have tweaked in some degree. So if it changes from now to then, be expecting that. That's gonna be part of the discussion. But I'm putting this out here as sort of a rough draft proof on what I foresee coming. Okay?
So do you have any questions from council on the proposed budget? I'll turn it open to the public. Do I have any questions from the public on the proposed budget?
Okay.
Next item on the agenda is the second reading of the amendment to the animal control ordinance. To remind y'all, we updated the animal control ordinance several months ago to match Coweta's own updated ordinance. Upon a review after it was adopted, they came back and had to do a small tweak, which is down here at the bottom of page 22, item 4. Brad can go into the details, but they updated this. They brought it back to us to re-adopt it, so this part becomes part of our animal control ordinance.
Last month, I asked a question about how who decided what a dangerous dog was, who decided what a dangerous dog is. Are you gonna make these people pay $1 million, for $1 million policy after they determine that the dog is dangerous?
Well, yes.
Okay, so they're not gonna say pit bulls are dangerous, therefore you and you have to maintain a $100 million policy.
The ordinance isn't drafted that way. But there are two pieces to it, and the reason they came back to change to number 4 was because they had, and we questioned this after they adopted it and it began circulating, that they had, $1 million for both. Two definitions, one is a dangerous dog, and I forget what.
Vicious dog.
Vicious dog. And so what happens is if the animal control person makes a determination based upon what that dog has done, okay? And you can see, if you read the definition of the vicious, what activity might constitute a vicious dog and what activity might constitute the dangerous dog. Once they make that determination, they serve a notice on the dog owner. The dog owner at that point can appeal the decision to a board of 5 members, I think it is. And that board is made up of veterinarians and animal-related people. All right. The owner may agree and put the dog down, or the owner may agree and get rid of the dog. But if it goes to the board and the board backs up the animal control officer, the person then is forced to put the dog down, depending on circumstances, or to get rid of the dog, or if they want to keep the dog, they have to furnish and I think it's $500,000 for the dangerous dog and $1 million
for the vicious dog.
$1 million for the vicious dog. They have to furnish a liability policy for that amount. Now, what constitutes whether the animal control officer makes that determination has nothing to do with the breed of the dog. It has to do with what activity the dog has done.
Yeah, that was my question.
So goes back more to the activity of the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, this $1 million is, next time.
Well, the problem is, from what my experience has been, and that's why I say, there's been very few of these ever brought to the panel to begin with. Most people will get rid of the dog, because the dog has done something serious. The one or two that we've had in the city of Union, the dog ripped an ear off a child. Okay, and so that was kind of a no-brainer at that point. Now, there was one that we took to the panel, where the panel, made a determination, that the dog was not dangerous. And at that point, though, the person, after they heard what could happen if the dog were ever designated that way, they got rid of the dog. So it kind of works both ways. But most, I don't know of an insurance company that would write a policy. I mean, that's the problem, is that our experience with some of these is that these people cannot go find a policy for $500, a liability policy for a dog.
It's not covered under an umbrella?
No,
It's not.
If you look at if you look at it, it's a separate policy, and, I just say that it's very difficult for somebody financially to be able to afford to get that policy.
I don't have any argument with it, I just don't understand it.
All right, if we have no other questions, if I can get a motion to accept.
I'll make that motion.
All right, Holly has the first.
I'll second.
All right, Alex has the second. All in favor? Unanimous? Thank you. All right, next item under new business is the First Amendment to the Solid Waste Collection, Transportation, and Disposal Agreement. This refers to GFL. This shows where our trash charge will go up beginning October 1st to $16 per month per cart. And then on January 1st, 23, it goes up to $22.25 per cart per month. And this is the amount that the town pays. This isn't anything that the citizens pay for directly themselves. Brad or Floyd, is there any?
I got it, I'll take it. So, council's already approved the price increases, and that's already happened. What this is doing, and it does seem like AFL, is the gift that keeps on giving, but in this case, I think it's a good one. You'll notice under, point number 2, on the first page, point number 2, it's going to be amended. It replaces a renewal date, basically, of May the 1st to January 1. So it puts renewal dates on a calendar basis. That's really what's going on here. So to make that happen, we have to have this amendment, and that's why it's before you. I think that's all there really is to it, is
Yeah.
that's just it.
No, if y'all recall, we went ahead and approved this, but there was some issues with whether it was referring to the proper agreement, and the young fellow we were dealing with never could quite understand that, but once we got to GFL's legal counsel, they came in and corrected. So while we had already approved the price increases, we wanted to move the date back to January 1, because we did not want to get caught in a situation of them anticipating or what. So we want to know if they're going to do an increase based upon what's in the agreement. And if you remember, Sharpsburg agreement, going forward, while there are some things in there about federal regulations that might cause costs, which nobody knows that happens. But we had, most agreements are based upon the percentage of increase in the CPI each year. Sharpsburg original agreement that was negotiated in 2012, 17, 2010.
I was saying 2010, but
Yeah,
yeah, that
2010, 2011 was 50% of the CPI. And of course, one of the things that they wanted to do was to take that out. But because, if you recall, agreement had already turned over, you know, we understood the pressures on them for providing the service at the $11 rate, which was out of the question. A lot of the rates coming in now, $26, $27, $28 a can. So in this particular instance, we agreed to the increase, provided they keep doing the recycling and everything they were doing, but we pushed back on changing the 50% of the CPI. And finally, when we got to their general counsel, who understood that the agreement had already rolled over, we were able to leave that in there. Now, the agreement rolls over 2025, so I would expect the town to get a letter prior to 60 days prior to January 1 of 2025, want to renegotiate the entire contract to remove the 50% as well as going up.
Right.
So, and then the town will just have to make that decision at that point in time. But I will say that would move the town to the contracts that other municipalities are having to sign now, whether it's with GFL or Amwaste or any of the rest of them. So, but we do have that, at least 50% of the CPI for 2024 still there, so.
Yeah,
We'll enjoy that for 1 or 2 years.
2 years. Yeah, we had been working with GFL on this contract for even longer than we've been discussing it in here, and we have been focusing on that May change for, I know, 3 years now. And so for us to finally get it and have it moved to January, so we can incorporate it into our budget, because last year, or year before that, we were splitting up, where, okay, it's gonna be here until here, and we gotta add this, and it's just, there's a pain. So thanks to Brad and Floyd for chasing this down. It's gonna make things much easier in the coming years.
Under agreements, section 1, says beginning on October 1st, 2023, and then the next paragraph says beginning on January 1st, 2023.
Yep.
Should that be 24?
That's 24, yeah.
Sure should be.
We'll fix that.
Yeah. So this is just a first amendment, Brad, rather than a first reading, right?
This is, you just voted.
Okay, so I misread it earlier. I think I said first reading to the solid waste collection. So my mistake, this is just an amendment. We can vote tonight to accept, given the corrections, and we can sign and get it on out.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Alex has the first, Tom has the second, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Let's see. The next item of business is from GMA. It is our regular, I think it's yearly or every other year, City of Ethics certification that we have signed, or that we have signed, or have had signed with GMA. It basically says that we have ethics, we follow them, and that, what else, Floyd? And that,
Yeah, so we're actually on a deadline. We have, if we're going to continue this, then we need to actually get it approved and get it over to GMA by the end of ethics. The town has been a certified city of ethics since 2011. And every 4 years, it comes up again. And the reason they do that is because they anticipate having new members on council, and so they would like to have it brought before council and certified. Basically 500 cities in Georgia are a part of this, and those who do sign on are recognized at the Cities United Summit as ethical cities. That's really all there is to this. I wasn't even sure what this was until I spoke to GMA, and I had a conversation with them about 2 hours ago when I got someone on the phone. But what I told you is what I've got. The listing of cities that are recently on there, by the way, are provided. Ackworth, Ball Ground, Barnesville, Dahlonega, Dawsonville, it stands, including Grantville, which is here in Toledo, of course. So it's been something from 2011. I think that's probably worthy to do, and I would just suggest we go ahead and do it.
Does it cost anything?
What's that?
Does it cost anything?
It used to. So when this council did it in 2011, it cost $85. For renewal, it cost nothing, so there is no monetary cost. The council paid it back in 2011.
Kind of question, there's an ordinance of the one that you're talking about, how the way that you choose the members of this committee, is that the same one will be in effect, or would there be a new one for that?
Well, the ordinance that they are referred to is the one that you've had for a number of years without any kind of changes.
So that would remain the same?
It's the same ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. All right. If we don't have any other questions, can I get a motion? All right, Stan has the first,
Second.
Polly has the second, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you.
Well then, since I has approved, whenever the meeting is over, I need to get each of your signatures, so we can get it out there, so.
All right, so the next item is for the streetscape, street lights that are in downtown Sharpsburg. Several months ago, the lights went out, in downtown on the streetscape street lights. And I'm saying it that way because there's a difference between those and the Georgia Power street lights that are elsewhere. The decorative street lights, went out. We suspect that it's a breaker that has been thrown or a short or something has happened. Floyd is seeking to get a not to exceed authorization. We've got an electrician that has come out here and looked at it, and we're not quite sure what it's gonna be, but we'd like to ask, did you want 15 or 12?
Actually, I'll take whatever I can get,
Okay.
but let me, add a little
Go
bit
ahead.
to it. Yeah, well, actually, I've had, complaints coming from at least 4 people that I can think of asking about streetlights, including Paul, who's asked about streetlights.
And that's because I got calls. People don't know I haven't been on the council.
Right, so, we had a guy who came out, this is from AAA Services, they're the ones who came out and restored the lighting at the flagpole. We had him come out to see, could they find what the problem is? My suspicion is that with all the power spikes we've had recently, my suspicion has something to do with that. There are other theories, but that's the suspicion. The guy came out and he looked and he kept it under mayor's spending authority, but he is saying that he needs an additional 1,200 as a high-end number to source out, figure out what the problem is, and then restore the lighting. So, we have not received the bill, but we have a bill, I'm guessing around 400 for what he's already done. And he is asking for another, 1,200 as a high end. So my question is council willing to authorize a not to exceed amount of at least 1,200?
That does not include fixing it.
I asked him, after you and I spoke on Friday, I reached out to him again, and I asked him, does that mean at the end of the day, the lights will be back on? And his answer was to me, my question then, hey, just to clarify, this not to exceed is not only to source out the problem, but restore lighting as well. That was my question to him. His reply, hey, correct, it's to continue troubleshooting, making any repairs possible in the not to exceed price. So my answer to that is yes, lighting would be restored.
And this will simply give Floyd the flexibility to go ahead and get it done. Staff certainly recommends that, we go ahead and approve it.
Right, now, I will say, when we set budget last year, we didn't anticipate these lights going out and having this, so again, it's unbudgeted, so it comes from contingency. But if council's willing, we can go ahead and get them out here and start looking at restoring the lights.
It's got nothing to do with this really, but recall 2 years ago, we had that light, one of these lights was blinking. Whatever happened with that?
I took it out and we hadn't been able to order the replacement bulb. Somebody shot it with a BB gun.
Okay.
And so that's why it was flashing. I've got the bulb name, I got the model number, all we gotta do literally is, if we can find it, just order it online.
Right.
It's just a screw in, I mean, it's a massive LED bulb about like that.
Yep, that's one thing I was actually pleasantly surprised with. I did not know what type of lighting we had. I was hoping we could get them to LED lighting, and it's already that way. So these are all LED lights.
Yeah. And they are bright, because when I pulled that one out and managed to plug it back in, that thing blinds you.
Should we get that fixed at the same time we do all this other?
We just order a new bulb. We could,
Or I can just ask him, he's gonna be working on them anyway.
Yes, and we have the bulb sheet somewhere.
Yeah.
It may be in the streetlights folder in the convenience files, but I found it. I mean, it's out there. We just couldn't ever find it to order it.
So maybe we do the not to exceed for a little extra, just in case there's the bulb that we can't find, that we need to find in order from Taiwan, I don't know. But, you know what I'm saying? Maybe bump it up a little bit just to get the cushion.
Okay, well, I make a motion that we
request is
authorize you not to
1,200,
exceed
something.
1,500.
Not to exceed 15,
That's my
okay.
motion.
You good with that, Tom? All right.
15, so Alex had the first, who had the
And
second?
to clarify, we've already gotten the 400, so this is on top of that, so it may be 15 on top of the 400 roughly, I don't know what that looks like.
But the 400 is not,
It's not a part of your motion, but I just wanna
Correct.
make sure that you know that this
so
is
you have
above.
1,500 extra, not 1,100.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So
Alex had the first,
I second it.
Tom had the second. All in favor? Unanimous, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, Floyd, I'm gonna let you take the asbestos survey for the Beckham House.
Okay, so, my understanding has been that we wanna get the Beckman House taken down. Spoke to, Paul Hardy about it, he's our safe build guy, as part of what do we need to do, and part of it is we need to get an asbestos test. It's funny, because that's come up in a whole different context, a whole different issue earlier today about a whole nother property, but we do need to get an asbestos test. So I asked, Julie to get quotes, and you'll see them reflected in your packet that I've given. But this will be one more step to getting the Beckman House taken down. Again, this is unbudgeted, but we reached out to more than 3 companies. 2 have come back with firm numbers. 1 said that that's not really what they do. We reached out to some others. We haven't heard much back from them at all. But what we have are 2 companies that are out here. One is asbestos abatement. Their low cost is $750, high cost is $1,500. And then you have ServPro, which is $414. I tend to lean toward asbestos abatement because it looks like we get more samples for the cost. That's my lean to, but you see the numbers, and I'm looking to get approval to go ahead and utilize whoever you choose to get this asbestos testing taken. My preference is asbestos abatement. You just get more samples, probably have a better field of research, but I'm leaning either way.
We contacted some people a year ago, 18 months ago on this. These are the same people?
I don't believe they are, and I
I think those are demo companies.
yeah, those were demo
Yeah, those are
companies.
Wasn't it? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't go to the asbestos.
But there was a separate line item.
Some of them, yeah, I think some of them had asbestos precautions as a part of their,
Well, if you'd like, we can go back and take a look and see about those as well.
Now, those are gonna be demo quotes, those are not gonna be.
But it is a
asbestos.
demo quote and not
Yeah, it's
particular,
gonna be-
specific to asbestos testing.
I'll make them.
I was just gonna say, the high guy back then was in the area of about 1,200.
I don't recall.
There's somebody else that was way low.
I'll be honest, I don't recall. I can always go back and look it up, but I just don't recall it.
I mean, it's really just about covering our butts, right? You know,
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna take a house down. I was gonna make a motion that we accept the asbestos abatement. Just let them handle it.
Now,
Take
of course,
25 samples.
Now, of course, if we are looking just to get the letter, the ServPro will also more than likely give us the letter and the result saying the same thing that I think that.
The only thing I worry about with that is any kind of, I don't know, recourse from
Mhm.
residents in the area or anything.
Well,
you
we're
know?
gonna have to abate it, if we find anything, we're gonna have to abate it regardless, so, I mean, it won't. If it's there, we're gonna have to do.
It's just the number of samples that I just, worry about someone coming back and saying, hey, you took down this property and, you know, we wanna sue because you
Right.
exposed us to it. And
Right.
if we come back and say, well, look, we took one sample of a wall inside and
Mhm.
and they certified it, I think it looks a lot better if we say, look, we tested it 25 different ways and they certified it.
And
That's
that's,
just to cover us in the future if we're
and that's where I land.
plowing this thing
Right,
down, and I don't want a neighbor,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
think
coming
it's-
after the city on a technicality.
I think it certainly has more.
For a couple
an
$100.
appearance of due diligence, we can say we looked at more than one place.
Well, there's another thing too, you can wonder with the idea of doing one sample, and you, all of a sudden you say, well, you got a bathroom, you got a heater, you got a
Yep.
kitchen, you got a ceiling, you got a, all of a
Yeah.
sudden that 414 is, 1,600.
Exactly.
And we could, I mean, I already made my motion, but we could go in there and you could take your own samples, $50 sample, and take them in, cut some floor and some wall and some, but that would require extra personnel, someone going in there again.
I second your motion.
All right, so say that again, Alex, so we've got it.
My motion was to accept, asbestos abatement of Georgia as our vendor, referring to these costs, the low and high costs.
Okay, Alex has the first, well, I'm sorry.
No, a couple of things for clarity, because there is a range from 750 to 1,500, are you make it part of your motion to 1,500?
Yes, within the range.
Okay, and if we can utilize SPOS, and I'm not saying we can't, but if we can't, I prefer to use SPOS funds, if not.
Does it need to be a part of the motion?
So,
I think we'll be okay.
does that need to be a motion on that one, as far as SPOS versus? Does abatement on this case, where asbestos sound like it's in the range of SPOS, and taking it as part of the demolition?
Yeah, as part of the demolition, I think it'll be okay.
So part of SPOS,
Yeah.
so utilizing SPOS funds, so.
Yeah, correct.
And the reason it's okay for the demolition is because we're taking it down to add to as part of our capital expenditure. So that's what makes it legal for it to be splossed rather than something else.
Okay. So
Yeah,
1,500
I'll make that
uses
motion.
SPOS.
Fifteen hundred uses splossed. Alex has the first,
And I still second it.
Tom still has the second. All right, all in favor?
Thank you.
Unanimous. All right, the next item on the agenda is the Sharpsburg Library, and I'll look to Tom or April for an update.
Well, the only thing I've got to say, we've gotten several, other quotes, for such things as benches inside. We've gotten more, donations. And,
Hundreds.
yes, we got a good number of books coming. Other than that, nothing's changed.
So when are we gonna be reopening and having activities?
Well, we need to get the, cataloging software.
I've been bringing in books probably about 100, like middle school sections for, I'm meeting with tomorrow to pick up like hundreds of books from, we've kind of connected with some homeschool co-op groups around Atlanta, and so we have gotten a lot of books from them. I think Dina has been overwhelmed with sorting them, so she's gonna need some help with that. I don't know what capacity, but, we have a desk that I'm bringing this week, and along with, we have an all-in-one computer that's donated. So we literally just need a catalog system and a scanner, and
So,
actually make copies.
That's
of-
384 is the catalog system. The catalog system's 384, and you have another 150 probably for a barcode reader. So that's one piece of it right there.
So we still haven't gotten the barcode reader yet?
Well, they said they've got a barcode reader, they've got a whole box of them that we can have, so
Yeah.
we really just need the catalog system, and then we'll be,
Why don't we have the catalog system?
Just a matter of order.
what is it?
I said, why don't we have the catalog system?
It just hasn't been approved price-wise yet, and we just need to, we just need yes.
Yeah,
Didn't we give them
No.
10 grand? Didn't we approve 10 grand?
No,
For the
that
library.
didn't
If we
approve.
gave
That didn't
10, refresh me on this one, when did we get
The
this?
previous meeting, didn't we talk about?
I was in the other room. I was in the other room. We approve it?
The only thing that got approved at that meeting was the flooring, and that's been done.
Oh.
So the rest
Oh,
of
you
the
know
list,
what?
the rest of the
I
list,
think
they'll
you're right.
need to see more.
I think
numbers.
10 grand was the number that was tossed around,
Well, that was, y'all asked for a,
roundabout number.
spreadsheet, for a spreadsheet, I put it together.
You're right.
And I have that
You're right.
spreadsheet.
10,000.
Yeah, and we only approved the floor though, okay.
Yeah, that spreadsheet that Tom did provide, he did provide it, I've incorporated it in the 24 budget, but, I haven't heard of approval for anything.
No, that sounds right, John.
Well, I'll make a motion, we spend 384 plus one, well, 384 for the software, to, cataloging software. And
So-
understand-
So let's go ahead and, I wanna keep having a discussion before we get into the motion. My concern is that we've been working on the library for over 3 months now, and we need to get the library back open. And, you know, we talked about hiring a new librarian or getting referrals from one. We need to get started with that because the library, we need to have it back open and having activities.
So it should be open, it is open, but my concern is that I bring all the books that I can bring, and there will be weeks that I go by and I'll pop back in, and none of them have been moved.
Okay.
So whose position and job is that to be sorting the books?
So really, I mean, honestly, I'm looking at you guys because y'all are the ones that have spearheaded this. You're the ones that pushed for it. You're the ones that pushed
But
for
Dina's not my
donations.
employee.
Well, I know, and I'm not asking you to, I'm not asking that, but I'm saying, if you guys are gonna drive this, you need to drive it all the way to the finish line. We need to go ahead and get it back open. Let's get some activities going, and
It's not closed.
Yeah, let's clarify.
The library's not closed. Now, if you go in there and Dina's in there and the lights are off, but I guess, so do you want me to go and start cataloging the books, or
I mean,
is that the
if-
library's position?
if you are volunteering to drive the library and that needs to be done, and it's not getting done, then yes, that'd be great. But if
So
If
what-
not, then let's go, I mean, we haven't even ordered the cataloging software.
So what is the librarian supposed to be doing?
She's supposed to be cataloging the books.
Or at least putting them on the shelf?
Yes, or at least putting them on the shelves.
I gotta say, you said a new library, and we getting another one?
That's what they said, folks have indicated that we would like to make a change in the library room, and I agree that our original
Changed on
plan.
addition to, okay.
Yes, in addition to.
You mean another library? We
That-
gonna have
yes.
one or two libraries?
One,
Okay, that's fine.
just one,
Thank you,
yep.
that's all I need to know.
I mean, I'm just concerned because I haven't seen any motion or heard any news or other than we need this money or we need that money.
I mean, I'm at every meeting updating, so I guess I'm concerned as to the feedback that I'm giving is not being received, but we've said every meeting that we need the catalog system. I don't have access to town funds to be able to just buy the catalog system,
Right.
so at what point?
I mean, we gotta hope, I mean, that would be a question for Mr. Teagle, I guess. I mean, he can bring a motion if he needs to get the catalog system. I'm just saying that thing has been, it appears to be closed. And when you guys are coming in and telling us that we gotta do flooring, and we gotta do this, and we gotta do that, and it's still lingering after X number of months,
It's not closed.
So the library is open.
okay.
It is open. There is confusion, because, yeah, books do come in, and there's a real question on, I uploaded, and I'm saying I'm speaking
Sure, yeah.
royal life, right? Offload the books, put them out there. What is the catalog system? It's sort of like, we're moving them onto a shelf, and we don't know if we're even on the right place, so there's some question and concern there as well. As far as, personnel matters, I'm not inclined to talk about personnel
No,
matters at
absolutely
a
not.
public meeting. But I will say that there is some confusion, and I do think what would be warranted is a catalog system, so we can at least knock that seeming obstacle out, start cataloging the stuff and putting it on the shelves.
Yeah,
I don't have a real problem with that.
I just thought that we had already agreed to do that. I mean, that would.
I know that there's been discussion on what needs are needed, and, to Tom's credit, I have received a spreadsheet that I incorporated in the 24 budget, but to my knowledge, there has not been a formal approval of getting software equipment. That's the motion that Tom's already put out there, I think it's something to consider.
One other comment, in this software it's the kind of thing that you get online and you buy it and you drop it in, you download it into your computer. So it's not a matter of ordering it and 2 months later it shows up.
It can be installed immediately, right?
You could have it by noon tomorrow if you want.
Okay, well, good, then let's put the motion in, and then when we put it in, perhaps you can show up and help us set it up. Please.
Okay. So I'd be happy.
Second.
All right, so Tom, do you mind repeating, how much are you willing to authorize for the purchase of this?
It's 384.
384, and that gets you the software. Is that just the initial, there's no
That's
annual fees or anything like that we're aware of?
Nope.
384, okay.
Now, I haven't looked at it in a long time. I don't know if there's a 5% tax.
Well, we're tax free
Well,
purposes. Yeah,
Well,
tax.
I mean, those kind of things. There's no
Right.
delivery fee, so, April, it's 384, that was the figure, wasn't it?
I'm trying to look it up in the email I sent a few months ago.
Hey, Tom, with that program, you're talking about barcoding all the books, You're gonna need a barcode printer as well, right?
You'll need a printer, you need a barcode reader.
They got the
If that's
barcode reader.
Pardon me?
Yeah, you, yeah.
The ISBN should be the barcode, it should have a barcode already on the books.
Yeah.
And part of the software is to pull that ISBN number down and pull all that down into our,
Into a database.
into a database.
I didn't know if the books already.
They're into the catalog.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know if they already had barcodes on them.
Yeah, it should, I mean, you can certainly print your own off if you want to, but, I mean, it depends on the cataloging software, however, I mean, Tom, do you know I mean, how does it work off of their information, or do you have to input it?
I don't think that's input, I think it comes off that, the, ISBN. That's pretty much the state of the industry, state of the art.
So what happens if it's 386 sold at your cart, should we?
You say not to exceed $500.
You don't make it, not to exceed 500, that's fine.
Yeah, that might be a better idea, just to make sure we don't run into this at another meeting where we gotta approve 50 more bucks, you know, 'cause we get it. Yeah. Okay, well, you have to withdraw, you have to withdraw your first motion, because it got a second. Okay.
So as far as the library being open and activities, both of y'all had mentioned getting volunteers in to do stuff. Have we gotten any dates or times or anything like that?
So I'd like clarity on what the job of the librarian is and what she's expected to do, so that I can understand where are the holes to fill in.
I mean, I can't answer that because it's your project and I don't know where the holes are. Floyd, would you like to fill in the information on personnel?
I'm not gonna talk about personnel in a public meeting.
Okay.
I'll be glad to talk about it
Sure, fair enough,
outward,
no, that's fine.
but
Sure.
I'm not gonna get into a back and forth about personnel here.
Well, we will fill in the holes,
Okay.
no
We
matter
just have
how
to know where
large.
they are.
Well, I
no matter how
think,
large
I think the reason there's a hole is because even,
Lack of communication.
yeah, there's not real sense on, are we doing X, Y, Z, or D? No, I think that's part of it, I'm not sure that that's all of it, but I think that would be probably, and if you guys are willing, I will be glad to have her come down, I'll be a part of it, and we can say, let's clarify who's doing what, because I think that's part of the matter too. That's about how far I'm gonna go with that particular part of it.
Yeah, she's got a list of things that she suggests we need to add. I
That's
haven't
right.
seen that yet either.
That's right. So, it may be very warranted, all of us who are involved come in and say, here's the A to Z.
And we do have a job description on file.
But, yeah, I'm not gonna, get into
We have a job description on file of
Of what now?
the library.
Librarian.
Okay, so we have a motion from Tom not to exceed 500. Alex, who seconded it?
No.
Stan did, okay.
All right.
All right.
So Tom had the first, Stan had the second. All in favor? Opposed? Are you in favor or opposed, Holly?
I'm in favor.
You're in favor?
I'm in
Okay,
favor.
right. Unanimous, thank you. Next item is the Downtown Development Authority. You got any updates for the DDA?
We have our fourth meeting today. The Christmas market's kind of coming together really good. We've got, it's coming together well. We've got 25 vendors, which is what we wanted to be. We had almost 100 people apply to be vendors. We have, I've got to get with Brad because he wasn't there this morning about the, bounce houses. I guess, Brad, can you provide clarity if we're allowed to do, not bounce house, but are we allowed to do an obstacle course and?
I'm sorry, I can't,
You can't hear you up here,
we
so.
can't hear up here.
Come on up, come on up.
We wanted to get clarification because our minutes didn't clarify that we did talk about, the, obstacle course for the Christmas market.
I don't know anything about the obstacle.
It's like a bounce house or the slides or all the blow up stuff, and one of the concerns that Floyd and I talked about was previously that there could not be those on town property, but we thought it might have been because it was third-party people renting the community center and renting
Right.
that, or are we not allowed to rent that?
I'm not aware, I mean, you could, if you get a third party to provide the bounce houses, they have to furnish liability insurance.
With us us named as a.
Additional insurers.
Commissioner, you just get them to furnish, $1 million, $500,000 occurrence, $1 million, although, you know, and the reason for that is because, as we know, one blew away with a bunch of kids in it at some point. So they need to have liability insurance.
It's a big company, and it's the same company we're actually going to set up a, ice skating rink under the
Yeah.
pavilion.
So what we wanna do is just see what their agreements say,
Okay.
and make sure that it's got provision for them to furnish the liability coverage and name this town as a additional insurance.
I'll email it to you so you can
Okay.
receive the money for it too.
Special use permit?
When do we need to apply for it, and it's
60 days with
Yeah, 45 to 60
We
days.
stated
before.
that at the last, 2 meetings ago.
and I said I'll come to every meeting and ask everything, so I guess, so we need to fill that out.
And also figure out the road closure. It's mainly about, more about the road closure, so we can get the sheriff's department.
It's about road impact, what do we, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
If we shut down roads, we need to know that sort of stuff.
so I guess it's the last meeting was 6 weeks ago, so that put a little bit of a snafu, because the last meeting I asked the same thing, and we just said, it was too early at that time, so now it is the time to do it.
Again, I was in the other room, guys, so.
Okay.
Oh, you were right.
Other than that, everything's.
How about decorations?
Decorations are, we're being gifted Sonoya's tree. It's 20 feet high. We've already figured out how to get it, here. We're working with some volunteers, and it has to be brought over in 2 sections. It's huge. We are not going to do ornaments this year on it because they are humongous and very costly. And, Sonoya may be getting new ornaments next year, so we might be able to get new ornaments next
These
year.
are big ornaments.
Yes, big ornaments. No, this is a 20-foot tree, so we're talking about ornaments
You need
like,
some big balls
Like
for a
this.
20-foot tree.
Said lights.
oh, they have lights on, the tree has lights on it.
Oh.
We're also being given, I think, 20 or so different lights to put on the, poles, like the poles going up and down Main Street. Elizabeth and I are coming tomorrow morning to see what is in the, container. And then we've already put together a group of people to decorate, so we're on.
Do you have a date that you anticipate decorating?
Soon, like we're hoping to start doing over the next 10 days, so we're hoping to have it done at the latest the week after Thanksgiving, so that we can get it going.
And also part of what's been contributed to DDA was per DDA request of additional 5,000 that we wrote a check for a little while ago. I actually gave it to Elizabeth when she got it. So we did that as well as part of our contribution as well. That was approved at the September 11th meeting.
And we've gotten 6 sponsors so far too for, we're gonna have a lot of free children's activities. So we've gotten some of the businesses to pay for those activities, so that way families can come and enjoy those for free.
I have another question. What about advertising?
So we are going to partner with the post office to do mailers into the 30277 zip code. EDDM is what the technical term of it's called, but it'll go into all the 30277 mailboxes. We're also working on banners and signage to have out by Thanksgiving, down the main roads to announce it as well. And we are actually going to pre-sell the signups for the ice skating, so that way, because the sign up that we have, people will sign up, pay for the ice skating when they sign up, as well as sign a waiver when they sign up and pay. So that way, all of that is taken care of. The company that is coming to set up the ice skating, they man it, they have employees that handle that. I've got to email Brad, we talked about it this morning at the morning DDA meeting, I've got to email him the waiver so that he can look over, so he'll feel comfortable about all that, before we start, pre-selling those.
Are they doing, are we on their liability as well?
For a certificate of insurance,
Yes.
it's the same company, it'll
skating
be,
rink? We'll do all of it?
the same company's doing everything,
Okay.
the ice skating and the obstacle course, yes.
Okay.
So it's better, more than Moonwalks out of Peachtree City, and he does all the local municipalities, so I feel confident that everybody is requesting him for a certificate of insurance. What else? We've got, we're working on the parking, because we're gonna have Main Street closed, we're talking about, having, I've gotta get with Joe, he said that he's let us use those areas for parking for the DDA meetings, and someone asked him about the market. We're also in the process of applying to demo the house on 225 Tarrentine, so we'll have that area for parking, as well as we're gonna talk to the church and Sharpsburg Tire. And then Elizabeth is gonna help coordinate getting with Coweta County Sheriff's Office to provide like a crosswalk person, so that people can walk across.
That's a state highway, we're gonna have to talk to DOT about that.
Okay.
And that may, I'm not sure, because it is state highway, maybe, Georgia Patrol.
Yeah,
Okay.
Maybe, I'm not
Yeah,
so sure.
I
about
don't know either, I'm not
it. Yeah,
sure either.
but that may be involved.
I'll email Floyd the logistics, and then
Yes.
we'll figure out
Yeah.
piece by piece what needs to happen
We'll
with
sort
it.
it out.
There's a lot for it to go together.
And I'll be honest, the main thing that gives us heartburn, honestly, is just not knowing what's going on. I mean, not knowing where things are and where things stand, and, you know, a month of silence just, it makes us nervous. And I'm sorry if I came across too harsh on the children's library, but, you know, it's just, we just need communication and updates.
I'm not gonna change back here but for that, I am a volunteer, I guess I would say, please remember that.
Sure. Absolutely, yes ma'am, indeed. But also remember that we're a government organization that has certain things that we have to do, and we have to protect ourselves even if we have volunteers doing all sorts of stuff. So that's the difference between business and government. We have to make sure that we're covered.
I think maybe you should have a private conversation
Sure.
about the circumstances that has happened to the library,
Yeah,
or has
absolutely.
been going through the library, because
Sure.
I don't call and report every single little thing to you, but I do talk to Tom about it, I've mentioned some stuff to Floyd, and I think I would just leave it at that.
Okay, well then, Tom, if you get information, please transfer that to Floyd so that we can be on top of it. All right, do we have any other questions or, comments for the new or the old business?
A couple things on the library I forgot about. What have y'all done with the tables? Is the other guy gonna table?
Yeah, so actually it was on my list of things to report about, so I'll be glad to jump on it now.
Well, wait a minute, let me just say this, the guy that I've been working with on benches,
Mhm.
where we're gonna try to utilize some of this, he's gonna give us the price as if we gave him the tables anyway.
Oh, really?
So he's gonna, cause I said, hey, I'll see back if I need some tables, give me a good price, he gave me a good price, no tables, he said, fine, no sweat.
Okay.
So it didn't hurt us. Okay, and, so I got that's taken care of. Also, I want to mention the telescope event on the 17th. Unless it clouds up, that's on.
Good.
So that's over at the church, right? At the church, okay.
So the table, so are we giving them to the bench guy? I thought we were gonna give them to
No,
Trey.
I offered to the bench guy, and then y'all had offered to the other guy.
Mhm.
And I told y'all we're gonna give him to the other guy.
Yes.
And I went back to my guy and said, well, deal's off, he said, well, I'll give you a good price anyway.
So let me update you guys on the tables, okay? Yeah, we did speak to Trey Bagley, it is a matter of just getting the new tables in, right? He is gonna take all the tables and chairs that you see, he's gonna take them. Angie and Julie went through reviewing how much are tables, how much are chairs, how much are basically a one-to-one replacement. How do you move these chairs, right? This will answer some of the questions and concerns we've had from those who rent this facility. At the end of the day, we're looking at 30 sets of chairs, 4 come in a set, that makes it 120 chairs. We're looking at 2 ways to move these 120 chairs. Looking at, we're estimating somewhere between 14 to 25 tables. The number, we can work with the numbers. And then how do we move the tables? How do we get them back and forth? So you're not always breaking down numerous tables. Anyway, by the time we looked at it, we went with the lowest quotes, also based on what we see with fit and need. And the cost is $6,182. We have a budget of $6,500, it's already been approved, so we're under budget, which is a good thing. The only reason we've had a delay is briefly because I'm the credit card holder, and Some of this requires me to go in and open an account, and I just haven't had a chance to get to the store to open the account. But as soon as I get to the store and open an account, then I can go ahead and get these orders. So, they're coming, and I anticipate, they're coming soon. Okay, so that's where we are with tables. Yeah, but Tom, I do appreciate the guy giving us a good quote on top, so that's awesome. Okay,
It's a habit.
what's that?
It's a habit.
There we go. Okay, so that was my update on tables, by the way. So I know I jumped the gun a bit, but that answers the question.
Okay, anybody else have any questions or comments before we go into the public comment period? All right, Shelby, do you have anything tonight?
I do not.
Oh, sir? Got anything? Kevin?
Nothing for me.
You got anything? All right. Ma'am, do you have any comments for the public comment period?
Mr. Mayor, if I could say, this is Asher Anderson,
Mm-hmm.
and he's working on his service in the community merit badge, on his trip to Eagle.
Very good. I'm so glad to have you here. Do you have any questions about the proceedings or anything that you saw? If there's anything that we need to sign, just let us know before you leave, okay? Alan, anything?
No.
April, anything else? Okay. All right, polling the council, Ms. Arlington, in honor of your arrival, I'll start with you.
Thank you. And, I don't know if knocking on doors is an asset or a liability, I haven't decided. I've got some things I'm gonna bring up at the next meeting that came up, except for one. And the most requested thing was something we can't do anything about, Georgia Power.
Actually, I don't know if we can do anything about it, but one thing we can do is keep rattling the trees and keep asking questions. It has been, as of last week, it has been routed up to a regional engineer to look at the data and try to figure out what's causing it. I wanna say 3 out of the 6 or 7 were caused by downed trees. That's what I have been told. I don't know that I trust that 100% because it flickered a lot more than it went off, and that, I don't know.
The flickering was the thing that come flickering.
And that's exactly what we have related back to Georgia Power, is the flickering that we're concerned about. So, we are still working to chase that down.
And the rest of them I'll say later.
Okay. And Alex has had a couple of conversations with engineers as well.
I mean, in the discussions I've had with them on the phone, it's essentially what, same thing they told you,
Same
oh,
thing.
it's squirrel on the line, it's a tree, and, you know, I try
And
to
that's,
let them know that it just doesn't, that
Not like
doesn't
that.
scan, you know,
No.
given
We've been
the
getting a lot of squirrels and a lot
certain,
of trees recently.
exactly, it
Yeah.
just seems like a lot of anomalies happening, you know, in a short period of time,
The
and so.
flickering and the surges is a lot more detrimental to our homes. and
Right,
equipment.
and that's.
oh yeah, absolutely.
I tried to make that clear to him, but it's very difficult to get a straight answer without running it up the chain to another level.
I have State Farm Insurance at the house.
Mhm.
Recently, they came to us and said, we want you to sign up for this device
Ah,
that you plug in the house, and we have 2 of them because my husband has a shop. They give us a report on outages, brownouts,
mm-hmm.
issues. It's just a little plug-in in the wall, but it's provided by the insurance company. So it's something, I don't know who we have our insurance here with. Who's that?
Irma.
Gurma.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but this device, it looks like just a little plug-in. And I get it on my phone because of that reason.
Okay. I'm sorry, so go ahead, Ms. Ball, is there?
No, that was it.
Mr. Teagle?
I'm done.
Alex?
On the Georgia Power thing, I just wanna make a note, there was also talk of corroded transformers that were discovered in Wellsburg Station. I don't actually know if those were, I was told there would be what's called a trouble man sent to replace at least one, and I told him, well, if you're replacing one, why don't you look at all of them? You know, the neighborhood was built all at the same time, so the transformers Didn't really get, I'll have to get an update on that, and maybe I can bring it to the next meeting, but, it's just, again, it's more of it wasn't that was necessarily the cause of the problem, but it was a problem that was identified, so again, I know the residents, including myself, are up in arms about it, basically, especially when it happens frequently, in those windows where it seems to happen in every 4 or 5 day period, and then it'll go away for a few weeks. Yeah, so we still don't have straight answers, but I do have a contact with the engineer that he's been pretty helpful to responding to my inquiry, so, the best I can do is continue to pursue it, but it's very difficult to get an answer that, seems to correlate with our issues, so.
Same here, we send the email or send a text and follow up, and then probably get a little bit of a response back.
Yeah, so all I can say is we'll just have to keep digging and, being kind of a thorn in their side until they, give us more.
Amen.
Mr. Parton? Nada? All right, Mr. Jones, Administrator's Report.
Yeah, so, line from before the Rourke House, I agree with you guys. Okay, yeah, we've been keeping Georgia Power as well. I've got texts as well where I've been going back and forth with Georgia Power. And it is escalating upward, but it's escalating slowly upward. So, but they are aware, they're very aware, and I also want answers. Yeah, I think part of the reason we've had to discuss street lights, and I think one of the issues with our camera system is a direct result of the spikings that we've received, power spikes. So it is hitting town hall as well. With regard to a couple of other items.
Can I just comment on the power spikes too? Because it just jogged my memory. That was one thing the engineer also said was improper nomenclature for what's happening. He was very insistent that these aren't power surges. These are there's a switch on the line called a recloser that essentially, when something touches and shorts the line, the recloser will open, but then that's why it's called a recloser. It attempts to reclose itself and complete the circuit so that we all receive power. So he was very adamant that they weren't power surges. Again, it's just more. You brought that up, and this is the kind of conversations you have.
Oh, it is. So that sort of reminds me of that movie Superman. Whenever she looks at him and says, "What's the S?" He goes, "Hope." She goes, "Well, it's still an S in our world. It still is a power surge."
Right, and that's what
So,
I actually told him to.
Yeah, so, but I get it, I've heard that too, but it's, end of the day, they're flickering.
Yeah.
Exactly. Guys, this is the, last meeting you have in November. There is no work session because that'll be Thanksgiving week. So this is the last meeting in November. Your next meeting is December 4th. And then you have a work session on December 18th. My question to you guys, do you want to have a work session or do you not?
My preference is that since we're towards the end of the year, and it would just be literally the last work session, if you guys wanted to cancel it and decide if y'all wanted to restart in January, I think that'd be appropriate, because anything that we talked about, unless y'all wanna talk about the budget, the work session would be a great time to talk about the budget, if we wanted to have it. But if not, council's preference.
Let's start fresh next year.
What does that mean? You wanna do the work session?
I'm sorry, let's not do it in December, and then let's make a decision later whether or not we restart the other round.
Okay, so no work session. Guys?
I guess I'll join the no work session, I'll support that, and if that's what these guys think is the right direction.
Well, we have the ability to call special meeting if we had to.
Sure.
If that's the case, if I'm getting the sense you guys don't want one. I think I've got the sense of council. Okay, so we will not do the work session in December. With regard to my absence at the last meeting, you'll recall I was in the other room. I will say that after that discussion, the issues that we're presenting front and center appear to be resolved. I'm happy to say that. I've been coming in, I've been fastidious about looking to the shore. And at this point in time, there's nothing to report, which is exactly what we wanted. We wanted a good outcome, we got a good outcome. Everything else that was on my list to talk about has in some degree or another been discussed, so I'm done.
Say that again. What,
You want me to say that I'm done? A second time and read,
just prior to that,
I'm done.
everything that you attempted to do in the meeting outside this meeting?
He didn't come. to
Oh,
last
okay,
meeting.
so now I know what you're asking me.
Well, no, I was in the other room.
Yeah, so what was the issues that we had that took up so much time and discussion? We had well, as you know, we were in that room the entire time you guys were out here. And when it was all said and done, there was a complete understanding. There was a complete understanding that they needed to clean up after themselves, and that was it. And all of that has been resolved, and at this point in time, it's no longer an issue.
All right, any other questions on polling accounts or the administrator's report? Okay, excellent, thank y'all.
Trust but verify.
Trust me.
I did verify too, I did hold that.
I don't know as long as you use that. As long as you use that quote.
Oh, he is, I've heard that several times.
The origin is what I was speaking of,
Oh, okay.
the origin. We shouldn't be doing that.
So tonight is meeting number 59 out of 60 for me. And I find it hard to believe, and I find it hard to realize or even to think about what it's gonna be like in January. When January comes, I'm curious to see how I'm gonna feel about it. But one of the things that I know that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave this place in some great hands with some great people who are going to continue the great work that we have done over the last handful of years. We have done a lot since 2018. Everything from professionalize our staff. We have updated the facilities with more updates to come. We have improved and added amenities out there in the back. We have instituted things in town that we have never been in a position to do. And we did it with everybody's help, everybody who was in here with their help. There wasn't a single day that I went into this feeling that I was completely alone, because somewhere I had somebody that had my back and believed in what we were doing. So as we start to turn the page, I want you guys to think about all the things that have grown around here beside our bank balances. I want you to think about our relationships. I want you to think about our instructors, our events that we have here. Just everything that we have accomplished. And it has been at times a slog and a grind, but at the end of the day, when I can look around this room and see all the people that care, I just want to thank you, because we could not have had the last 5 years without each and every one of you. And it has been an absolute honor. I cannot tell you how honored I am to serve you and to be your mayor. I love this job. I never imagined how much I would enjoy local government. And the experiences and the things that we've gone through here have made me a better person, have made me a better father, have made me a better mayor at the end of the day. And fortunately, it's never about agreeing, or whether you agree with me or whether you disagree with me, or even, frankly, even if you like me. It comes down to the fact that we can put the town front and center before all of us and make the town better, regardless of what it does to ourselves personally. You know, we all, being a volunteer council, have dedicated time and work hours and money and all these other things to it. And I appreciate the work that you guys have put in, and ladies, for my ladies that are here. I could not have done it without this team, and I just want to take a second before the chaos of Christmas and everything happens, that I say thank you. And I say thank you to every single one of y'all that have been in here and that have helped me, that have helped the town. And I don't know what next year's gonna bring. I certainly hope that I can continue to offer my services and expertise to the town. It will be in a different role, and that's okay, because there are different seasons in everybody's life. And if the council and upcoming mayor choose to take advantage, I am here to help, I'm here to serve. And I've had a lot of fun, guys. Thank y'all so much for that. You have made this so rewarding. You know, we have grown businesses here. We have grown nonprofits. We have brought people in here that have then since gone out and done great things. And they may not have done it if they had not come in here for whatever, be it a DCA meeting in May of 18, be it our nonprofit night in December of last year. We grew employees. I mean, we were so good at growing employees, people come in here and poach our people. Do you know that several of our employees have been approached by other towns in and outside of the county? And when Dina came to me, and Dina one came to me and said, so-and-so city has offered me a job and they're giving me this benefit and this retirement and this and that, and I told her, Dina, go, because this is what you need. And not only that, she came in here and learned and earned. And when you can grow people like that, and Floyd and Julie and Dina and Angie, I am so stinking proud of all of y'all, because you kept it going. It didn't matter what we had to deal with or what came through this door, you guys were always here, and I'm just so pleased to be able to depend on you. Because I knew the last two months, I haven't been around near as much as I have. I started a new job, I'm in an office 8 to 5, and it's not the worst thing ever, but after 3.5 years of working from home, it's different. But I knew that I could do that because I had you, and I had you, and I had her, and I had her. If I did not have you four, I would have been worrying about this. I would not have been as focused, and I don't know what would have happened. But because you are as good as you are, you made my life so much easier. And you've made the town better, and I just hope that, you have grown as much as we have over here. And I hope you've grown as much as I have, because this has been one of the greatest experiences of my life. At the end of the day, I wouldn't trade this for anything. And I hope in the future to get back to council or mayor seat. We'll see. You never know. But I would like to. I mean, it's my hometown. We've been here for years, and hopefully we will stay here for years. And I just wanted to take a second when it's calm and quiet, and just for most of us, just to say thank you all, and just say thank y'all quietly, because I just can't say it any better.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, so that being said, if we have no more questions about new business, old business, or polling questions, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Okay.
Stan has the first,
Second.
Teagle has the second, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you, we are adjourned.